Hello, Aline. We're live on YouTube.
We sure are. We sure are. Yep. So I would suggest actually just having yourself not on video if you don't want to be chilling on video the entire time.
Good point. Good point. I like this.
I'm hoping nobody comes early to the live stream because that'd be annoying. I also sincerely don't understand who's coming to this versus the event.
And I have no idea how that's going to affect our conversation in breakout rooms. And
yeah, I was like, oh God, does this mean that people are not going to come to the Zoom? Because I saw an email from somebody that didn't understand. And then once I sent it to him, because it went to spam, classic.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, okay. I know what's happening now.
Got it. Yeah, I think it could be a little bit confusing, especially if they have an internal thing that says a chat that's like, come to this one.
I know.
I just saw hello all. Oh, that's you. And then, okay, got it.
It's basically been me just trying to fix stuff for the whole time. So yeah, Katie's not going to come. She's on vacation right now.
Oh, okay. That's easy peasy.
Yeah. So,
Like that.
Yeah. So I'm just going to eat some food and then we can people will hear us, but I don't think it matters. No one's going to come early. I was going to say we can walk through the deck or anything.
I'm looking at the live stream right now, and it says one watching, so I'm pretty sure that's just me.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
I really don't think anybody's going to come early to a live stream. That feels, nobody does that because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, totally. Well, I've been running around because, anyways, I won't go into too much detail, but Grandma had some needs, and so I've been, and everything's fine, but it was just like, she didn't tell me about them, and then it makes it so much worse. And then she was like, I don't know, I went down there, and then it caused this whole confusion thing. And then anyways, I fixed it, which didn't take me long at all. I wish she would just tell me these things.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm out of breath. What a fucking week.
Oh, so brutal. I was literally fuming from your share for the rest of the evening. So
yeah, I need to just address this and set some, I just wish Lou was here right now so I could do it.
Yeah, it's just such a huge deal to have to push off.
The thing is, I know what direction I'm going to be able to apply for it. So what I need to do is just move forward with applying for it. Okay. And then if they end up actually turning it down, then we'll have a more serious conversation at that point.
Yeah. Wow.
But it's going to be a more serious conversation anyways about just what does that support look like?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's say we only had, I'm just going to throw it for Google, 6 people come to the actual Zoom session. Mm-hmm. Should I still do 3 breakout rooms, given that we have 3 people from Perkins, with 2 each? What's our minimum room?
I think that we should have 3 people in a room. 2 feels really tiny for the group feel. So I think it's okay. Honestly, I think Rachel Bennett will not necessarily want to go into a room. Okay. Based on her role. I don't know that she'll do it, but I don't think it's something that she's feeling particularly drawn to. We have kind of odd people to be the experts in the room.
Totally.
Brenna's never even seen Perkins in real life.
Seriously? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I don't think that she's been to the campus in a while or ever as a job, but maybe she went before she had the job. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, they're not teachers or on the access team. They're, they're kind of I don't know. They're the voice of the organization type people, which is appropriate, but it may not help with some of the detailed questions that the Googlers might have.
Yeah, true. And I mean, I think if we have a moment with her beforehand to just be like, it's okay to just be like, let's save those for when we get back.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So I'm just double checking. When is the first breakout room?
So timing wise, oh, I should mark that out for you. My goal is to get to the first breakout room after the 30-minute mark.
Okay.
I think that I'm just a little bit afraid that people are going to have a lot of questions for Dave when we do like the extended conversation, and I'm afraid how long he'll answer, but I gave him like very specific reminders about that.
Okay.
Give you the run of show idea of what we were hoping for. Remember where that is now. Where did I put that shit? Yeah, here we go.
The live stream doesn't say how many. It doesn't say that even one person's here yet, so I'm not quite sure what that's. Oh, it does say one person.
I think because I am the one who made it, like you count as the one person who's viewing. I myself don't count.
Yeah, that makes sense. I had refreshed it a minute ago and it didn't say anything, but it's back to saying one.
Okay, so I will send you now the run of that I was working with them on, so you can kind of see the minutes.
Oh, we actually have somebody else at our live stream now. Welcome.
Thanks.
Oh wait.
Glad to be here.
Let's see here. Not you, boo. Watching. I think. Hard to tell. I thought that I would be able to tell as the person who like has the account, but maybe not.
Oh, I can chat to them on the live stream.
So cool. How do I?
Oh my gosh, Elaine, I got you in here so early.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I totally thought this was starting right now and it's not.
That's why I was like, okay, girl, like you could just hang in there.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was like, I gotta go. I don't have time to walk the dog. I don't have time to help. Nobody else is watching the live stream. I feel fine now.
Poor thing. Customized channel, manage.
Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. No problem.
I'd like to say I'm extra prepared, but I'm just all over the place today.
I mean, you seem very prepared. I appreciated it. I wasn't upset on it.
You're like, I'm making lunch. What are you doing?
Yeah. It's like I'm ready. I mean, okay.
Oh gosh.
Delete these old videos. How do I delete these?
So does the live stream also record, or are we going to record?
It does record, like my live streams. I just realized if you look at my channel, you can see all of the practices, one of which where I was wearing a tube top and it looks like I'm like naked in it. So I feel like I should probably try to delete these, but I kind of don't know how.
Oh, that's amazing.
Edit. More actions. Delete forever. That sounds like the more.
Yeah, delete it forever.
Wait forever. Okay, I understand. Delete forever.
Even I had to upload some recordings of projects to YouTube, and I was like, now when you search Robin Hoppus, this is gonna be the shit that comes up. Like, I don't want it. There was a video a long time ago. It was like when I was in America, remember, I was like 21 years old at a Points of Light conference, and they interviewed me, and it was just like the most awkward thing. And it would come up like first when he searched my name. And I was like, come on.
You're like, please no, please no.
Come on, world.
Rough stuff. Okay, well, it looks like it's slowly deleting those, so that'll be good before everyone joins. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
I just really don't know where this got lost in translation as a need, the live stream.
Well, they never said live stream at all. And I'm wondering if the only reason she actually said it was because of, is because we decided we had to do it on Zoom because of Perkins.
Got it.
Because
Planning, she said in Google Meets she wanted to live stream it, and she's like, well, we wanted to use Google Meets so we can live stream it. I was like, you can live stream on Zoom too.
see, I don't think she ever said that, because that would have like totally cued me into like, they want to do something that we don't usually do.
Got it. This
So-
makes more sense, because I was like, I feel like
I would say something.
flag that as a thing. Like, this is weird.
Yeah, I would absolutely want to figure that one out before agreeing to it.
Yep. Yeah, I'm curious what it will mean. I think I'm gonna use the chat function in the live stream to say, like, you can participate in the design sprint as well. And you can submit your feedback to me directly via email, and then drop my email in the
I
chat,
like that.
right?
That's good. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Simple.
And there's a place on the actual, I don't know how well they're going to be able to see the chat. I don't know. Oh, you know what? I bet if they,
I'm gonna put it on the literal YouTube chat. Like,
yeah, okay, got it. Yep, that makes sense.
or whatever. Actually, I haven't done that before. I should make sure I know what I'm talking about.
Well, when there was one other person here, I was about to say something and just give a welcome on there.
Yeah.
So it's really easy. It's just on the right side. It just has chat box.
Okay, cool.
I do think they're going to actually be able to see as much on here as you can on Zoom. Like, I think their view will be as big
Okay. Interesting.
if they expand their screen out.
Interesting. All right, well, I'm just eating some stuff. I also made, I should time this out very specifically and just put that on a slide so I know how much.
So what is the prompt for the first breakout room, and what is the one for the second? Like, what are they? Is that
Yeah,
slide
the first
12?
is slide 12 and the second is slide 14. And this is broad, and I was like, should I add to it that it's for blind and visually impaired people? And rather than just like what would make it more an inclusive and accessible space, but kind of feels implied based on the whole conversation that precedes this.
I think so. I mean, I would hope that they're just diving into that.
Yeah, I can totally see a Googler being like, what do you mean? Like, in
Yeah.
general? And I'm like, well, that'd be great too. Feel free. Feel free.
Yeah. Let's get into that.
Yeah, so I just made a very simple Word doc that you can pull out of slide 12 if you want to look at it, of just like, this is what they're going to work on. It's literally just a Google Doc. I didn't even want to do forms. I was like, forget it.
Cool.
Care. I think it's fine, and they can drop it in a Drive folder.
Totally. I like it.
Yeah. Because it's not that much time to design Sprint. Let's be real.
It's really not. So that's their first one. Okay.
And there have, in that whole push for signups, I think there are two more people that signed up yesterday.
I just looked a few minutes ago and it was at 15.
Yeah, which is great.
15 the day before?
It was, and I think different people have added, and a couple people have clearly fallen off.
Got it. Okay.
We're still at that amount. So yeah.
And do you think there's any chance that we're gonna have anybody else from Perkins besides Rachel, Brenna, Dave?
I don't think so, unless Amy comes.
Okay, I'll just put them maybe.
So we'll see. I think that she is kind of a maybe. I think they all really want to be there, but I think she's the only one that was a maybe. I think all the rest for sure are coming.
Got it. Well, is there anything else we can go over? Or should I go spend 10 minutes taking out the dog?
You are totally welcome to take the dog out. What I think I want to do is just map out the exact minutes so that you can also be tracking that. And I'll try to put a couple more cues on the slide deck for you related to that.
I don't need to.
You don't need it? Okay.
No. I mean, I don't need to go take out the dog.
Oh, okay. And I get it.
My mom's going to be here pretty soon.
Okay.
So I think it'll be helpful if anything that you think is important, we can just chat about too.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's good that you're thinking of the numbers being as low as that, so we're not surprised. And I think what we'll do in the low numbers is throw Brenna and Dave in rooms. I think Rachel, frankly, probably knows more. However, she may not be. Oh, thank God.
I know where you're going. Yeah.
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 I was just checking that all the stuff got deleted off the YouTube. Alrighty then. Great. 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 Okay. And so the slide, the words matter piece is like also a little bit of a riff slide for Dave. And I want to make sure that I can hold him accountable on that one. Is just a quick transition. And then I'm going to open the room and take the deck down. And ask him the series of questions I have listed on slide 9.
Got it.
And I told him these exact minutes, like, hey, can you do this in this amount of minutes? And then offer hopefully 4 minutes for questions, which is ridiculous, but whatever. And then pull the deck back up and do very brief breakout room overview, even though they'll need it because they don't know how to use Zoom.
And so how long are they in there?
The first one, ideally 15 minutes.
Whoa, okay.
I know. That's why if we end up having like small numbers, like I'm going to be quicker with the housekeeping to give more time for Dave to talk and more time for breakouts.
Okay.
And since we have no one from Google speaking, it'll also be a little quicker there too.
Yep. Agreed.
But yeah, in my mind, the timing, where did I put it?
So it must be from
12:45 to 2, an hour and 15.
Yeah. And so the first 30 minutes are housekeeping, Dave, everything.
Yeah.
So that makes it about 12:45. 1:15 is hopefully when we get to the breakout room.
That's the goal.
And then 1:15 to 1:30 is the goal for that first breakout.
And then a 5-minute reflect.
Okay.
And then ideally, if we can do a second 15er, that would be great.
Okay.
If we end up feeling like we need to cut that to 12, I'm down for that. But I do want to create space for them to debrief on it and like for Dave to weigh in.
I have a feeling that that's going to be the piece that takes like that 5-minute reflect, because Dave's just going to start.
Talking. Yeah. I definitely told him how to rein it in there and to listen for their feedback, rather than like give some more anecdotes. I allowed him 2 anecdotes before they break out. Nice. But I agree with you that it's like potentially a danger zone.
Cool. We have somebody else on our live stream too. You're a little bit early.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
Oh, funny. I'm logged into my YouTube on my personal. Oh, well, whatever.
That up over here. Move this down. Set up my environment right. Just gonna leave this up too for now.
That's a good idea. There's somebody else here too. Do you think we should pause this, just leave that up and then talk in a different room?
Yes, I don't know how to take my audio off of
I think you can just mute yourself.
in the YouTube. Oh, in both. Is that what you're saying? The fudge.
You can't hear me.
What the heck? Just lost complete visual. It's so weird. What? Lost my Zoom screen. Why did this
Are you on
happen?
2 monitors?
I am, but
We're fine to just be in here too. We'll just know that they're there.
odd. It's weird that it's not showing, or maybe it's just delayed. Man, I do not know what that is about. Whenever I'm trying to find my Zoom screen, I can't access it anymore. Wow, I don't understand what's happening here. I don't know what to say about that. could also do the first breakout room be 10 minutes and the second one be 15.
Okay.
I don't know. Feels like a
I
large
think
topic.
it is a large topic. But that way, I kind of like that because I have a feeling between them that might not end up being a 5-minute reflect. It might be a 10,
Mhm.
given who we have in the room. So,
Okay.
because Dave's gonna be talking quite a bit, are you planning on managing chat, or should I also keep my eyes on that and do that?
I think both is great, and some may be also Perkins specific, and so I've also asked them to speak to the chat too, just
Okay,
in case. But
great.
I think I should be able to navigate all of those pieces.
Cool. I don't know who this is. I'm gonna pick it up because it might be somebody East Coast.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Robin. Nope. Nobody.
Yeah, that's definitely, I feel like I'm getting those types of calls so much more often lately.
It's a lot. And I think it's why I miss calls from people like Lovely Page yesterday, because most of the time I'm like not picking that up.
Yeah, and they, the ones that mask to look like your area code too. And you're like, oh, this is somebody that I know.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Yeah. Agreed. And also today are all of the last projects, right, for Google?
They are. One sec. And I talked to Chad this morning. We're gonna give a little early let go tomorrow. I know. No, I'm the only management team member here tomorrow.
Wow.
I know. But I know you have to be on something till 3. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna make that last till 3 because it's a single hands-on tomorrow participant, and I was asked to lead a virtual project.
Oh my God.
And I was like, no, we're not doing this. I'll give her some directions and then we're gonna leave.
Yeah, good idea. Okay, well, I was just gonna tell folks anytime after 2. So I think that'll work for you and most.
Wonderful.
Cool.
Love that.
I haven't told anybody yet. I was just gonna either do it at the very end of today or tomorrow morning.
That sounds good.
Cool. Maybe it'll give me, well, I'll probably wrap up early, but I also am like so needing some time to just get caught up on things.
Yeah. Yep.
In a scavenger hunt.
Absolutely. Okay. Let me try to pull this back up and see if this doesn't go away.
Glad to hear Katie's on vacation. Yay.
Yeah, I think for like a few days.
Good. My plant's getting so long, it's gonna be hanging in front of my computer soon. I like it. I have so many plants in my apartment, but this one over here in the corner, I was like, why don't, oh, shoot. Okay. Well, that came down. Some dirt all over the place. Anyways, I was like, why do I stand in a corner that has no greenery?
Yeah, no.
What am I doing? So, wow, I'm gonna have to clean this up. Oh, God, what a mess, Robin.
I don't know. There is something going on here when I share my screen on the live stream. I can't see the Zoom chat or the Zoom room, which is a little bit gnarly. Let me try.
Oh,
Let me try doing it on this side and see what happens. So weird. Oh, okay. Let's try this.
Oh my God, I literally just made the biggest mess. Playing with a plant. It's all over my keyboard.
No.
No.
Yeah, so this is kind of interesting, Robin. When I am sharing my screen normally I have access to the Zoom and I don't. I just lose it when I share screen now.
You think it's because of the live stream?
I think it is because this is never a thing for me.
Well, but we already have the live stream going, so we can't change anything.
Correct. So that is a bummer. I really like participating in the chat.
I know, and you're so on it.
Can't figure out like
At some point you are gonna have to make me host as well, remember?
yes, good point. I should just do that now. Where the F is it? Yeah, it only reappears when I stop sharing my screen, which is not good. So let's see.
Do you have a second monitor there?
I do. I'm using it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It just disappears. It doesn't even like move to or migrate anywhere. I just can't. I don't have it anymore.
Got it. Got it.
Which I don't exactly know what is the deal on that.
BT Dubs Portalisida got completely slammed with something this morning, or this afternoon. So she's not coming at all.
No worries. I knew that was going to happen. So
I thought it would too. She felt so bad again. And I was like, nope, it's truly not a big deal at all.
Frankly, I haven't, it's hard for me to integrate all of your new team members that are not 100% HOBA because I don't.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
Zero expectations of them participating in anything.
Yep. Besides my full team check-in on Monday mornings, it's like just so one-off with everybody else. It's such an interesting team dynamic in that sense. Count's team is so close, and then I got a lot of like floaters.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a different vibe. Well, shoot, this is a bummer. I can't.
I don't have all my settings because I haven't tech hosted on Zoom in a while, but I could share screen.
I think it's definitely gonna be very easy to make the breakout rooms. Like it may be honestly easier for me to do the breakout rooms on the fly, but I think, God, this is so annoying with two monitors, with a monitor that I can't do this normal style.
Because I'm surprised that after I'm the host, because remember yesterday, like you don't have the YouTube controls anymore. So I'm surprised it's still getting in the way of it.
Yeah, so like when I share this screen,
do you still have your Zoom toolbar there?
I do have the toolbar. I just don't have the room anymore.
Can you put the room up on your other screen? I don't know how you have it.
That's what I'm trying to do. And I literally can't find it anywhere until I fully exit screen sharing.
Got it.
And normally it's just around and I don't have it. Can you see what I'm seeing right now? where it says Zoom, join a meeting or whatever? Or do you just see the deck?
I know right at this moment, I was seeing the deck. At this moment, I just see your desktop.
Yeah, so that's when I'm trying to find my Zoom icon. It takes away from the screen share and it doesn't find the room. And all I can do is try to X out of this and nothing comes.
One time my Zoom screen went to like what other like it was hiding behind something.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. I don't have anything on my.
And does anything happen when you click on the Zoom icon in the Mac bar?
Yeah, that's what you saw. This is
Oh,
what for me. Where else could it be?
how much are you pulling up and down the deck?
Not too much.
The only reason it's silly, but I just hadn't tech hosted on Zoom. So I just don't have my settings set up is my worry, but we can do that.
To share screen. I don't know what you mean by your settings set up.
Well, like when I'll go ahead and share screen for a minute. Right now, I just have it as a tab, but I don't have any of my Zoom settings. Like I haven't shared my screen on Zoom for like months.
Oh.
Do I have, yeah.
I mean, you should be fine. It shouldn't be anything specific. If you just press share screen and then you choose to present the deck, it should be fine.
So is that good right now?
Mm-hmm. It's great.
Okay. And so when I bring it, I'll stop share. And then if I have to bring it to, okay, as long as it's, because a lot of people do the like share like a certain portion of their screen, and that's what I don't have set up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have that set up either on my.
If that's an easy fix, I think the breakout rooms are going to be really easy because I think we're going to have a small group. So I'm happy to do deck if you want to do breakout rooms.
Okay, that sounds great. And so I think as co-host, can I do breakout rooms?
No, you have
no,
to be.
I will be host again. Okay.
Okay, I'm going back to that.
Going back.
Going back.
That is so weird.
Make host. Change host. Okay.
That's concerning to me. It's very weird, but maybe it's just the YouTube thing that is making the difference. It's weird that were you able to see your Zoom screen when you shared screen?
Let me try again.
Well, now I'm host, so I don't know if it'll make a difference.
We'll see. All right, so let me go. Oh, I'm not co-host, so I can't share screen yet.
Yeah.
Let me actually plug in my other monitor and just make it one step easier, I think. I haven't done that in a while either.
Yeah, you don't have the same access in Zoom to do the sharing a portion. All those things I think are on Google Meets.
Really, a lot of people draw the box around. I know it's similar in.
Oh, I thought that was a Google Meets only thing, but.
So can you just go over real quick where in the deck I need to bring up this slide deck and whatnot?
Yeah, so the only time that we'll take it down is after the slide where, let me look at it. After the words matter slide. So that's when I'm gonna just chat with Dave for a while, and then we'll bring it up when I start talking about breakout rooms.
Okay.
And
what
then
slide is it? I'm sorry.
Slide 8 we'll have up for when we're talking about different phrases that have impacts And then I'll like have
Okay.
the chat with Dave basically, but anytime after on that slide, and then it'll be an obvious transition to the breakout rooms. And then we'll leave the slide up for question 12 for a little while. And so that the live stream folks can also.
Well, so we're not even, are we going to show them slides 10 and 11?
Yeah, let's have slides 10 and 11 come back up.
Cool.
And we'll leave 12 up, and then I'll drop something in the chat in the live stream about it. And we can just leave it up for the entirety of the breakout room.
Okay, that works. Cool. Well, I'll take your cues too. And
yeah, I
if
think
it's a lot of just conversation, I'll pull it down, that kind of thing. But
yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I think my preference in general for like returning from a breakout is to just have an open room. So you can think of the slides with circles as just like placeholders. We don't have to bring them up. It's really the questions that's most important.
Okay. So I'm going to share from my other monitor, which is desktop 2. Just want to make sure that that looks good. Okay. Except I always... There we go. Okay. We'll just go ahead and leave that up now.
That sounds good. Love that. Okay. So if we do have the full 15, I think it's still okay to break them into like rooms with 5 people. If there's 3 Perkins folks, for example.
Yeah, why don't I have my Zoom screen now?
It's the YouTube thing, I think.
Oh, weird. This is totally...
I know. It's not, I don't think it has to do with your monitors. I think has to do with that feed. But you can use, can you see your Zoom toolbar?
Yeah, so I can pull up participants.
Yeah, you can pull up participants in the chat, but you can't see the room.
Okay.
Right? Because you don't have a bunch of stuff pulled up, or are you like me where you're like, maybe it is actually buried?
No, and it wasn't buried just a minute ago, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try something really quick. I present this screen instead. Nope, I won't be able to do that. It's better to present that screen, I think.
Right? This is just absolutely silly. Oh, Tavia, you're real early.
Let's wait a minute.
Yes, absolutely. Wait a minute. We're going to wait several minutes.
We're going to wait 13 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly how we were. Chat Tavia real quick.
Great. Well, at least I can see it on the YouTube.
Great. Oh, that's a good point. It's going to be a little delayed. That's a good point.
Yeah. I don't think I'll be able to see more than if you're off mute or if you're on video, it'll pop up next to it, right? That's what we figured out yesterday.
Can you say that again? If I'm on video.
On the live stream, if you're on video, will you come up next to the slide deck?
Correct.
Okay, great. And just the one speaker we figured out.
We think so, yes.
Okay.
I think it'll look like normal open screen when we open it up and there's nothing being shared.
Well, I actually think you should turn on your video for a second, because what's happening right now is when we're talking, the slide deck's not showing on the live stream.
Oh, okay. So put my video on
for a second. Let's see what happens when you have your video on.
Interesting. But I don't think you're sharing anymore, so that's why.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's what's happening.
Oh, funny. Now I have our pictures over here in the corner.
Oh, great.
You can turn off your video if you want.
Fascinating. Fascinating. Okay.
No, it disappeared. I don't know what's happening. Gonna just not worry about it.
Yep. So many things. The live streaming really adds another layer. Really adds another layer.
Yeah, I know we're so darn good at this these days, of navigating Zoom and Google Meets, and throw a little variable in here.
I may forget to drop the waiver in the chat, even though I'll do my best. Sometimes I forget.
I'm gonna just check in with my mom real quick. I'll be right back.
No problem.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
So I will keep my eye on the YouTube chat.
Thank you. I will manage the actual Zoom room.
And if there's any questions that I think make sense to bring into the room, I can put them into the Zoom chat.
Okay.
I don't know if that'll happen, but I'm not going to invite that, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's totally okay to like say like, hey, y'all in the stream, you're welcome to offer a question.
When's our Perkins folks getting here?
Great question. It's a great question.
Great.
I'm going to assume actually right on time,
Right.
given our history. I'm going to assume right when the
Yeah.
project starts.
Cool.
Yep.
You know, I think even you can get going on like some housekeeping stuff before Dave's here too.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. All right. Thank you, Gabriel, for being on time. Oh, whoops. Look at us chatting in both places. Incredible. Incredible.
One sec.
You're talking to me?
No, my mom just got here, so she's checking in.
Oh, Brenna's here. I let her in.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Brenna.
She's still connected. No.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
I have to move you. I don't know why, but you're on my other screen there.
Hello.
How is everybody?
Hee.
Good.
Good. We're getting ready. We're already live streaming on YouTube.
Awesome.
If you had anybody that you wanted to listen in or participate, I can send you the chat the link.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
How do I move this over?
For today. Aline, are we also recording on Zoom?
We're not recording.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just live streaming. I mean, it will be recorded on my YouTube channel. I don't want to brag, but
Your brand new YouTube channel?
In case I have any adoring fans.
I'll make sure to watch it again.
Yes, but I actually think there could be a way that is a downloadable option in case there is content that Perkins wants to use.
Sure.
Too.
Oh, Rachel.
Is that Rachel coming on?
Sure is.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Sorry I'm a few minutes late.
Oh, no worries. I mean, you're early, so that's great. You coming in hot.
Great. So excited. I'm sorry for the delay with the headshot, but I'm glad you finally got it.
You got it. Looking good.
Good. Yeah, it was a great picture.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, they sent me the suit and tie one and I was like, this is not what we're looking for, but okay. So I'm glad Dave had a good picture. Or I mean the other one was good too.
Me
Hi,
too.
Dave. Dave's here too.
I know. Hi Dave. Hi Brenna.
You're on mute when
Hi
you
there.
Dave. Hit mute.
Hi. Yeah. Sorry. Thanks for noticing. Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Oh, hello. So we're gonna hold everyone at bay. By that I mean a couple people who are early from Google. Until right on the 12:45, and then hopefully we'll have folks streaming in. I'm gonna Paige, cool. Our contact, whose aunt works at Perkins.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So that was a great connection. She said that her aunt is Susan and is a math teacher.
Oh,
Oh,
Sue Sullivan? Yeah.
Yeah. So Paige Ingram, when she comes in, that's her aunt, which is
Sue
wonderful.
Sullivan's the best.
So I took my son to Ireland when he graduated from college, and we were at the Cliffs of Moher, and that's the picture I took. So in the background of the Cliffs of Moher on the
That's
west.
a great. Yeah,
Wow.
I know. I was glad you sent that because I asked Murky and I was like, "Do you have like a more relaxed headshot?" And they sent me one in your suit and tie, and I was like, "It's a great picture," but I was like, "I don't know if it's as relaxed as we're really thinking." But so
I just cut my son out of the picture, and
who needs this?
How kind of you.
Exactly. All right, I'm gonna let them in. There we go. Beautiful. Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome. I think everyone can get settled in. Hi, Paige.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, Gabriel. Ladislav, nice to see you.
Hi.
Welcome. I'm glad everybody made it in and also can come on and off mute. Incredible. I know that can be a pain point switching from Google products over to Zoom. So bravo, everybody. Also, Paige, it looks like your second is in join. Okay. Second version of you is joining.
Oh. Just decline that one, I guess.
Just an overachiever. Just having two.
Wanted to join twice. Very excited.
Very excited. So we'll just give everybody a couple minutes to arrive. But Paige, I wanted to introduce you if you haven't met any of the Perkins team. Dave and Brenna and Rachel are here, and they were already shouting Sue's praises. So
yeah, it's a weird connection that my aunt is a teacher there, but yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, Sue Sullivan is the Sue, right? Yeah. Oh,
Yep, exactly.
She's way more than a math teacher. She's an incredibly creative individual and helped us with our remote learning and just all kinds of things.
Yeah, she's well loved across the board.
Bring her on the road. Sorry.
Yeah, nope.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can, if it's, I don't know if you want to, I shared there's a YouTube live stream for folks in the room. If you wanted to share it, if you feel like somebody might want to kind of participate or at least listen in, I'll drop that in the chat too for the Perkins team. If you wanted to have anybody else be able to join.
Great.
And for folks in the room, if you don't want your likeness captured, the easiest way is to utilize the chat function to say hi or share a reflection rather than come off mute. Because when you come off mute, then you get kind of brought into the showcase cube, which you'll see my face in there a lot today. Okay. And for Google Volunteers, I did want to drop in the chat as well a volunteer waiver for today. A couple of you maybe already filled it out. If you did, thank you. And if not, if you can just fill out that waiver for us, that'd be great. I'll just wait about another minute for folks. Welcome in, folks just arriving. Thanks for being here. I do want to let you know that we are live streaming this on YouTube. So if you're feeling like you don't want your likeness captured, you can go off video, or you can just not come off mute. You're welcome to stay on video, but stay on mute and use the chat function. Either way is totally fine and welcome. But I do encourage, if in the breakout rooms, to have a video environment so it feels a little bit more comfortable to share and brainstorm together. And I'll drop one more time in case a couple last folks didn't get to see it, but there's a volunteer waiver if you don't mind filling out briefly, but let's get into it. Welcome, everybody. My name's Aline. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am a part of Hands-On Bay Area team. I am joined by beloved colleagues, Robin, who's going to be running our tech. You can wave to, hi, Robin. And Brooke, who is joining also from the Hands-On team to kind of shadow and say hello. And we're so delighted to be joined by our Perkins partners. I'll introduce them in a little bit. But I just wanted to, in case anybody has any issues, it looks like everybody was able to join and can access muting and unmuting yourself. Let us know if you have any issues, and we can help you out. Paige and I are kind of working on that together. And the live stream, just so everyone's aware, is really only open for the Google team and the Perkins school staff. So this isn't published anywhere on the internet. There aren't going to be any viewers joining us outside of the Google team and Perkins team. I just wanted y'all to know. And we also wanted to welcome everyone. This Google Serve has been an incredible one virtually this summer. We've been facilitating projects for more than 6,000 Googlers between May and today, the very last day of Google Serve projects. Thank you so much for kind of navigating with us and joining this very unique opportunity with Perkins. We've been partnered with Google for over a decade, working on providing really high impact volunteer experiences. And this is an extremely unique one, and we're so glad that you chose to dive into this type of work and conversations and learning opportunities with Perkins. And Robin, can you move to the next 2 slides? Thank you. So before we get actually into our project time, I'd love if you could preload your Go Give hours. It's an hour and 15 minutes. We're going to be here together, and I can drop that link in the chat to track your time. But this is another incredible way to support the Perkins community by donating the dollars per hour for your time. And so this is kind of the step-by-step in tracking your time. You want to enter your hours, confirm the date today, which is the 29th of July. And the type of volunteering that you're doing is called Extra Hands. There's a few options there. And then after that, you basically just confirm your volunteer time, which is great. And if you don't have a chance to do it in this moment, I will offer it again at the end of the project and again in a follow-up email, so it will be unforgettable. And it's a really lovely add of your impact today. So thanks for participating. And then our roadmap for our project time together. We're going to just go over briefly our community agreements for these types of digital conversation convenings. They're probably similar to ones you hold each other accountable to, and take a little mindfulness moment space. And then we're going to have a chat with Dave Power, who's in the room, who is the president and CEO at Perkins School for the Blind. And if you have any questions that are coming up, there'll be a little bit of space for you to ask them then, and a little bit of space towards the end of the project as well. And then we're going to actually break out together and kind of brainstorm our ideas to address a couple of questions that had come up from Perkins' side, and learn about what we can do to continue supporting Perkins beyond the event. But while we're here together, these are some simple agreements we want to hold ourselves accountable to, which is being authentic, which I know can sometimes be difficult in a work setting, but we hope that this can be a little bit of a departure in the sense that you can feel brave and safe to ask questions, be curious, and be honest and true to who you are, and using kind of the first person I statements in talking about your own experiences, and practicing generosity, definitely in group breakouts and things like that. And in this setting where we're all together, just practicing calling each other in instead of calling each other out, and recognizing that we're all coming to this space from very different backgrounds and experiences. And just know that we will also be here to facilitate any things that come up that feel sensitive or you want to raise up that are concerns, but I don't expect any of that. And we hope that you are curious. And if you need any clarification, ask those questions. Be open to new ideas that are being shared in the space and kind of ways of thinking about things. And we really want to value everyone's viewpoints, even if they conflict with ours, and push us a little bit out of our comfort space in talking about these particular topics. And then the last one is, I feel like I'm going to be the only one guilty of this, of stepping back if you're over speaking or oversharing, and being aware of making time and space for other folks in your groups. So just offering space for that. And other than that, I want to take a rare moment in the workday to have a mindful breath moment. And if you're seated, if you're standing at your desk, if you're in the kitchen, wherever you are, just feel free to kind of push back from your workspace, maybe turn your phone over, and allow yourself to put your feet right on the ground. You can stand if you want, you can lie down. I will not judge, I will only support that. And allow yourself to settle in and start to feel your breath in your chest and in your belly. Maybe feel your eyebrows, allow them to relax a little bit, unfurrow them. See if there's tension in your jaw. And if you can allow it to relax, and start to really connect to your breath, filling your belly, filling your chest, and exhaling it all deeply. I want to offer you space to take three whole intentional breaths, filling your belly and your chest, and then holding your breath for a couple of seconds for yourself. So filling that belly and chest, holding it for a couple seconds, and then releasing it entirely. I want you to take 3 breaths like that at your own pace, and just think as you're breathing in, what is bringing me to this space? What is my intention? And allowing yourself to be filled with that intention. Holding it for yourself, and then releasing it out into the space. You can take 3 breaths at your own pace. You can even close your eyes if you have the ability to. When you're feeling ready, you can wiggle your toes, gently flutter your eyelids, and come back to the space. Welcome back. Welcome back. And I want to give you a little bit of a space. We can do it in the chat, but I am curious what drew people to this particular opportunity. What brings you here? And so feel free to prepare it. I'm going to do a kind of a countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so that nobody has to be the first one. And you can drop in the chat what is bringing you to this particular event. So I will allow you a few seconds, and then I'll do a dramatic countdown, and then everyone can enter once I get to 1 in the chat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enter into the chat. What brings you here? Oh, incredible. What a flood. What a flurry. Thank you all for sharing. Wanting to understand people's stories and learning how we can do better for them. Love that. Appreciate you. A father who's sort of visually impaired and is blind in one eye. So getting some perspective here. Team went through an accessibility training, which had me go through many of the tools used by the blind, and I was curious to learn more. Oh, incredible. We can't wait to hear more about that too, Jeff. Grow my understanding on how to be inclusive. We are here for it. My brother is taking classes at Perkins before. Had a wonderful experience and I want to learn more. Oh, amazing. Here for learning and perspective. Hear that. Family connection to visual impairment. Same. Someone interned at Perkins. Wow, we have a lot of proximity to the Perkins community. That's so wonderful. Software engineer at Fitbit. Boston, interested in accessible technology and working on a Fitbit watch face for low vision users. Wow, amazing. Okay, we're coming to this from so many different angles. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it a lot. It gives us a lot of perspective as well. And so without further ado, I want to also honor all of the Perkins staff in the room. Brenna Child is here, Rachel Bennett, and Dave Power. So they're here. Give them all a wave and extra love. But we are going to be having some time to connect with Dave about a myriad of topics. And he will also be helping out in facilitating some of our breakout sessions to do a little bit of brainstorming together. So welcome, Dave. And before I get into some of my questions, I'm sure there's a couple of things folks have experienced in their day-to-day lives and words that we all use on a daily basis that we may not know have an impact. So I did want to offer this space and this slide. And I was wondering if you could kind of chime in here about what some of us might be facing in our daily experiences, what phrases that come to mind that we kind of throw away that we maybe want to reconsider as a first way to enter this conversation about accessibility and inclusivity.
Well, fantastic. And first of all, thank you all for being here and for your interest. You know, the whole group of you from Google, appreciate your being here. Love to have a chat with you about a variety of topics. There's already some savvy people here using terms like visually impaired, and you know that's sort of for the advanced group. One thing I wanted to say is that there's more people that are visually impaired than are blind. So when you use the words blind and visually impaired, blind implies visually impaired. They go to salt and pepper, blind and visually impaired. They're both good. I think visually impaired is a broader term if you could only pick one term because it's kind of inclusive of the blind. Anywhere from legally blind to can't see anything. And interestingly, maybe we talk about this a little bit, but there are different teaching methods. There's different accessible technology. Someone who's visually impaired might have low vision and use large text or enhanced color or contrast in a website. Someone who's completely blind is using different ways to interact with the world. Sighted is the word for the rest of us. So we're all sighted as people visually impaired. So there's some good words. Those are all widely used, completely acceptable words. I think, as you've pointed out in the slide, there's some phrases that are better not to use. Turn a blind eye, the blind leading the blind. You know, we all have stories and phrases that use the word blind without, in a maybe somewhat a mindless manner, blind date. And when you're with someone with blind, believe me, they will forgive you. They've heard worse, but they'll also give you credit for, you know, knowing a little bit about some of this. Now, there's also some things that are kind of interesting, which is, you know, if you say something like to someone's blind, nice to see you or see you later, you know, did you just commit the worst faux pas or in fact, no, people that are blind actually say, see you later. And it's one of the things we've kind of learned kind of in the field. I'd say if there's anything I've learned, it's just to take your best shot it's awkward for you if you haven't been with a blind person to figure out like how to help them or how to say it. They know that too, but they appreciate the effort. They'd rather you say, is there anything I do to help you like cross the street with me? Or, can I describe to you what's on the banquet platter here and maybe put a platter together for you? And more than likely you're going to get that would be really great.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thanks for breaking the seal on that. I'm sure that there's been just something as simple as the day-to-day language and way of moving about in community that I think.
By the way, in our work environment, we always start a meeting by introducing all of ourselves around the table. We don't wait for the person that's blind to say, could you tell me who's in the room, or the Zoom call? Same deal. We make it a part of our practice that we say, hey, before we get started, can we just go around the room and just say who's here? So that's kind of a best practice. It's just part of the Perkins culture.
Appreciate that. I definitely want to perpetuate that. I think that later on, if anybody wants to chime in, maybe you can say your name before you chime in as well, to kind of offer a little bit of practice there. But I have a few questions, and I also want to provide a little bit of space for other folks to ask questions as well. But for those who are a little less familiar, we've got some who are very familiar with Perkins, but for those who aren't, can you share just a little bit with us about Perkins, the programs and the communities that you support?
Okay, first of all, Perkins is a pretty historic place. It's the first school for the blind in the United States, second in the world. It was founded in 1829, so it's almost 200 years old. And we taught Annie Sullivan, who taught Helen Keller, and who was a part of the Perkins. So we have that great history and heritage. When Perkins was founded and during that next century, whatever, there were schools for the blind. Think of it sort of like a prep school for young adults who are blind, and there's still 80 of them or so around the country. But it's not the norm for education for students that are blind or visually impaired. In the United States, 95% of all young adults with disability are in public schools. So we this is what's called inclusive education. It's our national education policy since the 1970s. And so what Perkins does today is a combination of serving up to 200 kids on our campus in Watertown. We have this historic campus. Come visit us, please, when you're in Watertown. We love visitors. But it looks like an old British boarding school or whatever, and we do have boarding students. But really, that's sort of our legacy model. And we serve kids who are referred to us who really probably aren't best suited to being served in the public school classroom. But our mission is to serve all the kids. So more of what we do is we take the know-how from the work on campus, all these fantastic teachers like Sue Sullivan. We have 200 amazing teachers of the visually impaired. We capture that know-how and we share it. We have itinerant teachers that go into public schools, serve about 1,000 kids across New England. We do teacher training across the United States. We have an international division that's been up and running since 1920, so 100 years old. And we're teaching teachers in developing countries. So we have this ripple effect. We have like the center of excellence, or almost like a teaching hospital in Watertown. And we have a world mission. We're a leader in most of the things we do. And it's a vastly underserved population. So, that's helpful by the way of, yeah. Well, maybe I can say one other thing just by way of background, so I'll make you experts relative to 99.9% of the population. So what is blindness education? And people think, oh, it's like Braille or something, right? Is that, well, here's the thing. For a child who can't see, they learn math, they learn English, they learn other subjects that everybody else does. What they're missing is something called incidental learning. And what this is everything that you're unconsciously taking in, including all of us right now, from when you're born all the way through so you turn 20, and like how other kids dress, how they behave, who's fooling around, how my parents dress for work, what is a shadow, there's all these concepts that we just sort of naturally pick up on our own. And if you go through let's say 20 years of growing up and you haven't been exposed to that, you're really not ready for the world, even though you may know your math and your English. And so what education is for kids who are blind and visually impaired is really trying to sort of put back or replace what is missing in incidental behavior. And a lot of it is behavior, navigation, orientation, and accessible technology tools. So that's just a little pro tip, just in terms of what blindness education is what, and we're trying to get it out there, because the best teachers in America have probably never had a blind student. And when they do, like September, you're going to get a blind student. Yikes, now what do I do? Well, here we are saying, okay, there's some things that we can give you sort of the boot camp, if you will, to be ready for some things that you need to know.
Incredible. Thanks for giving us a peek into that. I guess a follow-up question to that is that I'm sure other folks are wondering in the room is how are blind and visually impaired people, students accessing information, from school, from work, just in general, day to day?
Yeah. So like for low vision, for people with lower vision, right? They really want things enlarged. It's harder for some to see edges, things are blurry. So the more we think about contrast and enlarging things, but large type books, large face, and the flexibility to design your interface to have larger text, that's really aiming at the visually impaired. For people that are blind, they are listening. They're incredible listeners. People who are blind listen to audio at high speed. I don't know if you listen to like Audible books or something like that. And there's a setting where you can put the book on 1.5 speed or 2.5 speed. Whenever I put it, I think I'm going to be really productive and put it in 2.0. And 3 minutes go by, I was like, okay, I don't know anything. I forgot everything I just heard. So it's really hard to speed it up. If you're with someone with blind, you wouldn't believe, because they're recording things, how quickly they can play things back. And so they use a lot of audio. People that are blind can access text. Braille is a Braille character is made up of, there's 6 dots, 6 digits. It's a binary character, really. It's either the dot is up or not. And with 6 places, you can describe, 64, is that the math? 64 characters. So all of the alphabet plus some math and some punctuation and things like that. So there is Braille, but Braille is hard to learn and use. So there's, but there's also screen reading. And this is really important, because I think today, none of us could operate without getting access, digital information from our screen and phones. So how do people that are blind get it? There's technology. There's VoiceOver on the iPhone. Google has a voice translated screen. So there's technology that will read its own stuff. There's also, there's screen reader technology that essentially takes text and turns it into voice. There's a widely used product called JAWS, which is a Windows environment translator. And so someone who's blind is basically having the news read or what's on a page read. That's a very common one. Now, one thing I want to say, because this is big in accessibility, is the way that you format data on a screen has a big impact on the accessibility of that data for the user. I use this analogy, there's 2 ways to write a term paper in high school. One is you wait till the last minute and you write it all at 1:30 in the morning. It's like stream of consciousness. Or you do what the teacher told you to do. You do an outline and you organize it, So the right way to put text on a screen for people that are blind is to use an outline. And that outline is there's a de facto standard called Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.0, WCAG 2.0. And some of us believe that every computer science major should have at least like a day of instruction on WCAG 2.0. But it's really about how you format text when you're writing, when you're putting content on a screen. And any content developer needs to know this. In fact, it's the law. Okay, the Americans with Disabilities Act was written before the internet came out, right? So it's not explicit. It came out in 92, and the internet sort of showed up for most of us around 96. So, but there are de facto standards, and you can be sued. your business, your school, your company, you can be sued if you're not adopting something that looks more or less like WCAG 2.0. So, so that's really important. And why is it important? Because if you're blind, and we're not just talking about like getting your homework assignment from school, though I includes that, or doing your job, but just to buy stuff on Amazon or buy tickets on JetBlue, you need to be able to do it on your mobile device and do it, on the screen. And so that's really important there. Maybe I'll just say one last thing. There's a whole category, information access. There's two areas of accessible technology that's important for the blind. If you should take it all the way to the mountaintop, there's information access and there's navigation. So I've been talking about information access, which is really like words and communication, that kind of thing. The other side of the world is navigation. And, originally there was like canes and dogs, but there's new technology now for there's artificial intelligence and image technology. I mean, there's people building wearable devices that recognize images the way a driverless car is intended to do, and people are experimenting with how a person who's blind could get from A to B with technology assistance, sound and otherwise. It's not perfected yet. There's no standards yet. There's another device from a company called Sunu. You could look at SUNU, and they started with a wearable device that sends out radar signals like a bat. And the closer you get to your device, the more the signals accelerate. They've got I just touched base with the Sunu founder recently. They've got a new device that hangs around your neck and has cameras, right? There's two cameras around the front part of your neck. And so Sunu is getting into the game of image processing, AI. So that's really where the frontier is. But ideally, someone who is blind could use AI and imaging technology to get anywhere. I mean, they're dying to have driverless cars. So they just get in a car. That's a big limitation for someone who's blind in their life to get from here to there. And that's going to dramatically change the life of the blind person.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you. I was curious about that. And you already answered my question of just like, where does this accessibility digitally matter the most? And I feel like you've kind of navigated us through that. But I am curious if you could share a little bit, and I'm sure folks in the room on the Google team would be interested in understanding the relationship and partnership between Google and Perkins, and how Google has been participating in supporting accessibility for blind and visually impaired people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, my team has many connections to Google over the years because we recognize Google as a leader in understanding the importance of accessibility, in making its own products accessible, and being a part of, kind of volunteer associations, industry forums, et cetera, to set a high bar. So thank you, Google. I mean, you're standard setters, and we have lots of good connections. It may be interesting for some of you to know that we got a grant. We won a grant, $750,000, to build a product called Blind Ways, which was a concept basically test. We built an app. It's in the App Store, Blind Ways, that allows people who are blind to find the bus stop. What's that about? Bus stop, what? Just use navigation on the iPhone? No, well, GPS is only accurate within about 50 or 60 feet, and it's fuzzy enough to actually be on the right street and have the bus pass you by. That's a widely known problem. And so one thing I would just want to tell you about innovation and accessibility is the problems that you want to solve, if you want to come up with solutions for the blind, they're not intuitive. We'll get to that later, but I mean, you really need to talk to a blind person to understand what the real problem is. And we had a blind member of our team that said, darn, missed the bus again. And we were like, what? Yeah. So we learned about this problem. We proposed to Google that we would solve it in a grant using basically a crowdsourcing approach. I think Google had just bought Waze around that time. And so what this app Blind Ways does is allows sighted individuals to map certain questions that allow, when you're at a bus stop, to map like, where's the bench, where's the telephone pole, where's this, where's that. It turned out that physical cues is the least common denominator, most reliable solution, even though someday you may have cameras and other things, but this is the way you could do every single bus stop. And we mapped out the bus routes of the Boston area. And we had partnership with the Boston MBTA. And so it's a good model. The software that we developed is in the public domain. We created this mobile app and we hope it gets some uptake. In fact, we just got some interest recently from the Boston Metro to take over and update the software. So thank you, Google, for that. I'll just mention one other point of connection, and Eileen will cut me off whenever I'm going too long. But we had a hackathon 2 years ago. We're going to have more. I need a few more volunteers, and Brenna is building a new volunteer organization. But because you need a lot of volunteers to do that. But we had the first, as far as we know, the first hackathon for the blind, and we opened it up. We created 6 design challenges. We mapped it up on our website. There's some national best practices for running a hackathon, and we used all of those. We had the right amount of coffee and chocolate and ice cream for all 24 hours of the sprint. But we had 350 college students from 24 states, including Canada, which is like another big state, sign up. And now not all of them came, but 100 some of them came, and they did an unbelievable job. So we want to keep doing that. So we had Google, my point was we had Google volunteers helping coaching the teams, from the Boston Google team, the Cambridge Google team. And we want to keep doing more of that. In fact, if we have time later, maybe I can tell you my vision for a Perkins Innovation Center, sort of like a media lab for the blind.
That sounds amazing. I think we'll probably have a little bit of time at the end, and I do want to create a little bit of space for folks to break out, but I did want to offer if there was one big burning question that somebody has that you want to offer to the Perkins team here. Otherwise, we'll take some space to do a little bit of ideating ourselves. And thank you, Dave, for kind of priming the space. But does anybody have a question? You can offer it in the chat. Folks on the live stream, you're welcome to also drop in the chat, and we have time for about one question for now, and then a little bit more time later. Okay. I'm guessing nothing is in the live stream at the moment. We're good. Okay, well, you can hold that question in your heart for later. But I did want to offer that we are going to be going into breakout rooms to discuss similar questions. And if you're not used to going into Zoom breakout rooms, you're going to see a little cue. It says join the breakout room. Please stay in them. We'll usher you back from the breakout rooms. We will, if you have any questions while you're in there is an ask for help button. But we wanted to also send you off with a working document to address, the first and the second breakout questions that we're going to have. And the first one that we want to think about together is how we can be creating a more inclusive and accessible work environment at Google on our teams specifically, or if you think about organization wide. And so I want to give every team the opportunity to write down all of your ideas. And so I've put a document in the chat. For those on the live stream, I will have my email in the chat there as well. So you're welcome to email your ideas. For those who are sitting near each other, you're welcome to ideate and then share via email with me. But for those that are here in the Zoom room, please use that document for your team, make a copy of it, and utilize it to draft your ideas. And you are going to have the lucky opportunity to have a member of the Perkins team in each of your breakouts as well. So you're welcome to bounce questions off of team members. And if they don't have the answers, they're ones that they can take back and we can have addressed later as well. So Perkins staff, you don't also have to have every single answer. But does anybody have questions about the breakout rooms before we head in? We're going to have about 12 minutes for this first one, and then we're going to regroup and reflect for a little bit and then break back out again. Any questions? Feeling okay? All right. Well, enjoy the time. Feel free to dance out of here into your space, whatever you need to do. Chair spin. And we'll see you back in 12 minutes. We'll send you a reminder. Make it. Paige, let me drop you in as well. Oh.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, and Tavia is back. Hi, Tavia. Did you get bumped out? I can reassign you.
Hi, sorry, my computer, like it froze when it tried
Oh.
to go into the breakout room and yeah.
I will try to send you in there with all of the good energy that you don't get frozen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Wow, that went fast.
Right? It's a speed round, and luckily there'll be another one. But I am curious and excited to hear what things were coming up in folks' conversation. You feel free to use the chat or come off mute. Welcome back, everyone's streaming in. Welcome back from the other space. I hope that, I'm guessing that was short amount of time to answer such a large question. But I'm hoping it's kind of the beginning of a bigger discussion on your teams and amongst yourselves. But I was wondering if folks had anything on your mind that you'd be open to sharing out with us from your breakouts, maybe some ideas that came up that you wanted to offer to other folks in the room. We'd love to hear.
Okay, I'll go first. On our group, we haven't got to the idea. I think we got insofar as at least defining a couple of problem statements, if I were to call that, and I'll let the people from my team to chime in. There was a couple of points. One was around internal tools that we used, lots of websites, lots of systems. How are we going to make those accessible for people with disabilities? The other aspect is around physical navigation around the buildings and campus. Dave actually highlighted one of the things that I at least skipped was I immediately went into solutioning without, first of all, asking the person who we are in the end trying to design a solution for. So we suggest that maybe we ought to talk and ask the blind person or partially sighted or the person with color disability, what is the most challenging in that particular scenario? So that's how far we got to.
I think that's an incredible journey you went on in 11 to 12 minutes. So
yeah, I was like, oh, good point. I didn't even ask.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that resonates with any other teams or if anything else came up similarly.
So one more point that Kemi brought up was something that I had just learned about the requirements that Google has for all of its external apps and its tools and its interfaces, and they all have to pass this rating in order to be released. And I haven't been with Google long enough to know whether or not they have the same rating requirements for internal tools. But I would imagine that, if an employee who is visually impaired wants to take some time off or wants to, go and see what's happening in the cafeteria, like those tools need to be just as accessible. Otherwise, it's not even worth working there.
Yeah. Interesting. Thanks for sharing. Any other breakout rooms have other things that came up in your conversation?
I can speak for my breakout group or represent what we were kind of talking about, but we also talked about physical navigation a lot. We talked about some buildings are very confusing, and I can relate. Perkins is a beautiful campus, but it's a lot of old buildings that can be a little maze-like. So how can you, when someone who's not visually impaired even has trouble finding their way around, how can you help people who are visually impaired find their way around? Things like that. And then also someone brought up the good point, or Ladislav, excuse me, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, brought up the good point that, with badge access, if you have to swipe your badge, how do you know where to find that if you're visually impaired? And, again, at Perkins, we're doing a lot more of, locking buildings for COVID and just having people with badges be able to get in. And, I never thought about that. How does someone who's visually impaired know where that card scanner is? How can we make it more accessible for them? So it was a great point. And we just talked a lot about physical kind of accommodations, and then also hiring. How can we, help people who are not only visually impaired, but have other disabilities? How can we help accommodate for them and, be proactive instead of reactive?
Wow. Amazing. So many other different things. The badge thing I had not even thought of. Well, working at a small nonprofit, we don't really have badges, but just have brass keys, but it's definitely a huge thing to think about. I hadn't thought of that at all. So I'm very glad you thought that. Is there any other ideas folks wanted to share?
We
I can
also
share.
talked about navigating physically around the building, but also about internal communications, like writing emails and documentation in a way that is screen reader friendly. And our group also spent some time talking about like how to know how to make things that you're building accessible, because a lot of us we're engineers in our group discuss not always knowing what the thing we're supposed to do is.
Wow. That is chef kiss segue to our next question that we are going to grapple with together in breakout rooms, which is, I think some of the issue is what Dave was referring to and other folks are sharing out is like, wait a minute, we have to take a few steps back here. How can we involve the blind or visually impaired individuals as users into the design of all of the things that we're talking about? How do we go about that process? And I think it sounds like we're geared towards a lot of solutions, but there may be some steps before that we want to consider. And so we'd love to give you some space to navigate this question. How can we involve the blind or visually impaired user in design to address any of the things that you've been coming up with? And we'll give you another lengthy 12 minutes to discuss this tiny topic. And you can go, you're going to be going into your same breakout room, so you can kind of still have that connectivity of thought with your team members. And for those who are on the live stream, we would love your feedback on this aspect as well. And feel free again to email me directly your feedback, but we'll break everyone out. And if there are any other questions, this is still on the same document you've already been using. So please stay using that and do fill it out. There's a Drive folder that we're hoping to compile all of this and be able to offer it to the Perkins team as well. So utilize those resources. And I can't wait to hear when we come back. Dave, did you want to share briefly an anecdote related to this? Maybe somewhere where this has flopped or been successful that might help us in navigating this discussion?
Well, I mentioned that to my group, but I just quickly repeat that, you know, since in this role, 7 or 8 years, I've had many unsolicited visits by entrepreneurs who had some solution for the blind, who come, and I always say, yeah, come on down, let's take a look, you know. And often my first question is, so have you shown this to someone who's blind? Oh, well, no, that's why we're here. And I'm thinking, wow, you went this far without figuring out who the user is. It's interesting. If you have a few moments, I'd point you to 2 companies and websites. One's called Aira, A-I-R-A, which uses image technology. I mean, it's basically a camera and a call center, really basic technology, but very successfully position their solution for all the use cases. So you go to their website, it's just all you find your use case. And then Sunu, which I think has been more what I would call technology in search of a market. And I mean, they're sort of coming along, but I think the difference is the user, you know, the role of the user in the design process. So I'll leave it at that.
Interesting. And the spelling of Sunu is
S-U-N-U.
S-U-N-U. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Well, it sounds like we have a lot to toil with for the next 12 whole minutes. So without further ado, we'll send you back into your spaces, and then we'll have another chance to kind of digest and debrief and then think about what next in supporting Perkins. So I will send you back out into the space and dance your way there if you need to. Wait, okay. It's a great sign when people don't come back immediately. Great, you're on mute, Ski.
They just said every word counts.
Yep.
Yay, here they come. They're back.
Always tough to tackle such large topics in such short periods. I'm sure that one was also brief for folks. Welcome everyone. As we stream in. Well, I didn't have the privilege of being in the rooms, so I am totally curious what folks were trying to tackle or what you were thinking about in addressing this question. So if any groups wanted to share, the floor is yours, and you can also use the chat if you prefer.
I can start.
Awesome.
So we talked about involving, so kind of we had two different avenues we talked about. We talked about doing user studies and involving blind and visually impaired, making sure that within our user studies that there is different representation at the beginning, middle, and throughout at different checkpoints throughout. But we also talked about how we understand that that can be taxing on the blind and visually impaired community and always going, needing input from that side. So also talking about, are there specific trainings or knowledge bases that we can help provide people that are here, like here, engineers that are developing different features and products, that so they can understand a bit and do some of that work and then go and check and not have to do as much back and forth with a blind or visually impaired person. We also talked about how at the release stage is when internally there's that like check mark of this is an accessibility check mark. But could that be earlier in the process? Because often, I'm not an engineer, but as I heard from engineers, often if we get the no, this isn't at that point, there's a lot of back work, and that creates a lot of crunch time and a lot of work for a lot of people. And so can we do that checkpoint ahead of time and kind of make that process a little more streamlined and have that accessibility looked at earlier in the process?
Interesting. Thanks for sharing, Paige. Is anybody else, is that resonating, or did you have a different perspective on what y'all were talking about in your spaces?
Something that I had thought about, which is sort of similar to what Paige was saying, is that there are various design standards that are out there, and we kind of have to trust that those design standards are standards and they've been reviewed, and so and supported by various communities. And so if we are designing, and obviously before implementing, we are designing our product to follow that, then the hope is that when we reach the end, when we reach that end stage, it will actually be a satisfactory product from that point of view.
Yeah.
That's the hope, at least.
Yeah. Agree on that. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate it. Is there anything coming up for anybody else that you wanted to share into the space?
Yeah, I've been working on a product for low vision users, and I've been sort of our approach has been kind of, we started with some guides and standards and things like that of how big to make font sizes depending on how far away in this case a watch is, things like that, and how to do color contrast. And then the other sort of more important piece was having someone with a visual impairment who's able to sort of look at iterations over time and help provide very quick feedback for what she did and didn't like, that we could then iterate on very rapidly.
Interesting. curious, Dave, if you have feedback on that share as well, or if anybody on the Perkins team has anything that you wanted to offer, kind of responding to some of these shares, just briefly.
I think we need more standards. We were just sort of like even standards for like sidewalks and street lights are not so standard if you go from city to city. So you can see that it's getting better, but it's not completely standardized. WCAG itself is better if someone who's blind or vision impaired actually does a final check, because you're making judgments about things. But overall, if we adopted the standards we had, we would be great. I think a hard thing that's a thread through all this is you want to talk to someone who's blind or visually impaired. I mean, that getting a starting point that's right on the problem, it makes you gets you to the finish line faster, but it is hard to find people that are blind or visually impaired. So that's a tricky thing, but it's worth the effort.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That's the same through line I was hearing. I was just want to make sure that it sounded the same. Your side, it's like, well, it seems like people have the same issue, but I really appreciate everyone sharing and kind of vulnerably diving in this group setting, and those on the live stream. Thanks for being here. And we have a couple ways that are very fast approaching to continue to support Perkins from this perspective. Hackathons in the future are definitely an exciting opportunity. And if you are interested in being a participant addressing problems that were actually posed by visually impaired and blind individuals, feel free to drop a +sign in the chat, and I can regroup with you after the event via email to stay connected about hackathons as an opportunity. So if that's something of interest to you, drop a +sign. I'll also share this as an opportunity after the event. There is a big fundraiser called Everybody In. It is a walking and moving event on October 2nd. If you are in the Boston area, you can also participate virtually. I'm going to be walking here in Oakland. And it's a wonderful event. I'll drop the link to that in the chat briefly. And I'll also follow up via email for that exciting event. And also, we just encourage you to review the Perkins website. They've just kind of launched it. It's really accessible. Just spend 10-15 minutes cruising through it to not only learn about what Perkins does and to sign up for their newsletters, but to kind of understand how they're addressing accessibility in their website as well. And for me, I just want to say thank you. This has been a very rich experience, both to pull together and to hear all the thoughts and input that everyone is bringing to the table. So thank you for allowing me into this ending of your day, brainstorming and design sprinting and learning opportunity. And yeah, thanks to the Perkins team. And if anybody has any final farewells, you're welcome to come off mute, shout them into the ether. But otherwise, many, many thanks. And you'll be hearing from me via email with some follow-up, but thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aileen. Thank you, Robin. Thank you all, Googlers. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
All right.
Farewell. Have a great evening / mid-afternoon for the West Coasters. Thank you. Thank you. Woo!